Pens for Men Undergarment Studios in Orange County, California. It's the Indispensable Thursday Show with Sable and Dave. Mediocrity never goes out of style.
So Lori and I are just wandering around Rome. We're done with our tours in the morning. We're just sort of hanging out. And we go, oh, this looks cool. I wonder what this is. There's some plexiglass and a giant square. All the streets are going around it. And so we get closer, like, oh, it's definitely some kind of a ruin, ancient Roman. I can't read the sign. Let's go to the other side and check it out. So we go to the other side. We go, oh, these are the 5 temples here. They call them Temple A, Temple B, Temple C. And I go, oh, Lori, did you see that cat? Oh, there's another cat. So we scooch around. Hey, there's some more cats over there. We keep going. By the time we get to the third side of this giant, 80 meters long thing, we're seeing a couple dozen cats. We're like, this is strange. There are a lot of cats on this monument. And I see some stairs. So, of course, I start walking down the stairs.
Downstairs.
Because that's what I do in Rome. I see stairs that aren't blocked off, and I just walk down them.
When in Rome.
And she's yelling at me like, don't. So I just go down. And
this sounds like a sitcom already, where the dumb guy and then who doesn't deserve the woman he's with, she's going to try to keep him out of trouble. You're going to go down and you're going to get into some sort of misadventure down there.
Right, I figure 200 feral cats are all going to attack me and rip the flesh off my body. But I go down there, and there's a couple of like old ladies and some plants. And they're volunteers. They have built a cat sanctuary on the ancient Roman monument that partially goes under the street. So you actually have to duck. I had to duck. Lori had to duck to get in the door. And then you could stand up. And it smelled like cat poop. I could just envision, as soon as I walked in, I could envision all of the women who were volunteering. They all had that, that virus that lives in cat gut that gets into a woman's brain and makes her become a cat lady.
Yeah, what is that called?
Man, I can't recall that. We might not have enough live listeners yet to get us that information on the live, but if you want to, you can send one of us a text message or put it in the chat. But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We may have spoken about it before. I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
We'll look it up. We'll bring it up.
We've been afraid because there's those weird cat people have told us, ixnay on that at K Iris Vey.
Right.
They've threatened us a few times.
So I'm envisioning this little parasite getting into all the brains of all the women because of all the smell of. So it turns out that this is a big deal. It's the Gatti de Roma, the cats of Rome. This sanctuary, they are spaying and neutering like 4,000 cats a year. But they just sort of squatted in this area and built their little cat hospital. And tourists come from all over the world. They keep about 200 cats there to go into the room and pet the cats and play with them and donate money to feed them. And they have a room for disabled cats.
Can you switch to the picture of me?
Yeah. By the way, we're on the live stream, everybody.
Switch to the picture of me on the live stream. Tell me when I'm
ahead.
on.
You're on.
So you're telling me in the middle of Rome, where they have the Colosseum, some of the greatest achievements of man who've lived thousands of years, and people want to go see the freaking cat sanctuary,
right?
With the crazy ladies who just feed cats, that's great. That's a fantastic afternoon while you're in effing Rome to go see the stupid cat exhibit. Awesome.
So the best part of the cats of Rome...
Okay, you can take the camera off.
I got it off. The best part about seeing all these cats on the ancient monument is that the monument, this 5 temples, is maybe the most important monument in Rome. That's where Julius Caesar was murdered.
Oh.
That's the exact spot.
That's the exact spot. Ooh,
where the cats were taking a dump. That's exactly where the...
Wow, that's cool. I like that.
So, of course, I'm curious, and we go back to our Airbnb for the evening where we got some Wi-Fi.
Oh, you used Airbnb?
The whole time.
Oh, nice.
It was great.
Worked out good?
Yeah, it was great. We made one mistake because of the time change, the dates and everything. We accidentally booked a night when we weren't there in the country. Oh. And we couldn't get a refund.
Yeah.
So, lost a little money. Got ripped off by a cab driver.
Ooh.
But only one. And Uber was great.
Okay, good. Uber's there.
Yeah, Uber's in Rome. Had him pick me up. That was awesome.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, Italy, man, Rome. It's like you have this 2,500-year-old ruins. You have some fantastic, the largest unsupported concrete dome in the world is on the Pantheon, and it has been there for 1,800 years. Right, it's a big deal.
Built to last.
It's a giant, huge thing, and the streets in Rome. This is a modern city. Just wind around the ancient ruins.
Yeah.
So if you go from the Termini, from Roma Termini to anywhere, you have to drive down past all the ruins. Mm-hmm. So you're going to see the Colosseum. You're going to see all this stuff on your way to whatever. So they just squeeze it right in. So you can see here's a 400-year-old church. Here's that 1,800-year-old column, and there's a Samsung Galaxy Edge S6 banner.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Did you go to Florence to see the dog rescue over there? That's over near Brunelleschi's dome.
No, that's where the mosquito rescue is.
Oh, good. It's about time someone takes care of the mosquitoes. They get such a bad rap.
Right.
That's good.
The tiger mosquitoes now the listeners can't see this, but I discovered on my first night, I must have had 25 mosquito bites all over my arms. Mm-hmm. And you could see right here, it looks like they tried to slash my wrist and kill me.
Jeez.
It was like 6 of them all along.
So like mafiosi mosquitoes?
So when I went to go ask about it, people were like, "Oh yeah, the Zanzura, like Zanzara or Zanzara."
Is that the
mosquito? Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I
went to the pharmacist and she said, "Oh, mamma mia."
That's great. Italiano. Oh, that's great. Italy's awesome. Yeah. I'd like to go back.
Yeah. So with all the ancient architecture and beauty and the food and the coffee, it just surprises me that it's such a dump.
Yeah.
Like every square inch of Rome is covered in cigarette butts and graffiti. Mm-hmm. From the ground to as high as you can see, everywhere. Now, there were a couple pieces of public art. I tried to capture some of those on my Instagram. But for the most part, you could just scan your eyes and everything was trashed. The trucks, the buildings, the doors to the restaurants. It was like...
Wow.
Every cobblestone had a smoked pack of cigarettes in it. Every cobblestone. You could look down anywhere and see 10,000 cigarette butts.
Huh. I don't remember that in Florence when I went. That was 2002. That was a while ago.
Florence was not as bad as Rome on the graffiti. There's still tons of graffiti, but it wasn't as bad.
I like the ancient graffiti I've seen those on the Discovery Channel and stuff where they Maximus carved his name in there while he was waiting for his turn at the whorehouse there. It's cool. I like that. And writing in their little Latin with their little V's instead of U's and stuff. It's so cute.
So the cool thing about traveling now, as opposed to the last few trips I've done overseas, was now I had a phone that you just turned on and it worked.
Yeah.
So I had Google Maps on because I have T-Mobile, so it just worked in Italy. I had Google Maps unlimited. You could get me everywhere. I had Google Translate, so I could type in what I wanted to say, practice it, and then walk over to the person and ask my question. Everyone treated me.
You used it?
Yeah.
It worked pretty well?
Worked perfectly.
Oh, that's cool.
But then you could take a picture of the sign, and it would translate live what the sign said. So we're like, oh, I wonder what this is. There was this giant sign protesting gay Romans adopting children. And
gay Romans,
like gay men, there was a sign saying, gay men should not be able to rent a uterus to it. Like this was for serious thing. We were like, what is this?
Funky.
It looks so weird. So it was great.
Yeah, a lot of Catholics out there, they're opposed to that.
Yeah, I guess so. Now, I did discover something about Google Translate that I wish I had known on day one. But on the very last Saturday in Rome, when we were there, so we went to Rome for a few days, then we went to Florence for a couple days, and we went back to Rome. And we were looking at this giant fountain, and I'm looking at the Latin, and most of the Latin is, hey, this guy made this, thanks to the Pope such and such in this year. That's like almost all the Latin signs are pretty straightforward. This one was like, it's saying something about an aquifer and like what's going on. So just for fun, I thought I would type it into Google Translate. Totally translates all ancient Latin.
Wow.
I had no idea.
That's great.
It turned out that the fountain was it was a special fountain brought to that hill for people to have healthy, clean water in the certain year of whatever such and such, and that it was brought over 35 miles because it wasn't built on a natural spring. Like, what?
That's cool. Like, Star Trek is here. Remember the universal translator that we have? The aliens are speaking their language and everything's just getting translated.
Right. So anybody going to Italy now, take your phone with Google Translate and just type in the ancient Latin. It'll tell you right what it is.
Wow.
It's fantastic.
You don't need to pay a swarthy guide to take you around.
You still want to have some guides. Yeah.
You still want a swarthy guide? Okay.
Yeah. I suggest the walking tours of Italy.
Yeah.
That'd
be great.
If you just Google walking tours of Italy, we did of our 9 days there, we did 3 major tours: the Vatican, the ancient Roman tour with the Colosseum, the Forum, and the Palpatine Hill, and then we did the best tour of Florence, including the David.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, David was amazing to see too. I liked looking at that. I stared for a long time when I went there.
You just like manicured white.
Yeah.
Genitals.
And and I just mentioned to you before we started that the funny thing is when they take you into the Accademia where David is housed now. They have a replica out in the Piazza di Repubblica. That's where it used to be, but now of course people will just hack off the penis and take it home if they could.
Like the popes did.
Yeah, right. They actually officially hacked off all the penises and testicles too. But that was just so people couldn't see them and they wouldn't think dirty thoughts. But
I have a theory about this.
Oh,
because we noticed that many statues that the genitals had been chopped off, like everywhere, and on the paintings they even painted little sashes to cover them up. So when I was in the Sistine Chapel, we had this. Wasn't very many people. They opened the doors to the Papal Palace. And they were open for about 10 minutes. We could sort of peer into where the Pope actually lives. And I think I saw around the corner a separate museum. And through the crack in the door, I think I saw a wall full of penises.
Did you see, could you get a glimpse into the kitchen? There's like a little plate there with like a finished glass of wine and like some crumbs from like some communion wafers in there, like in the sink, waiting to get washed.
So I think the Pope has a room, a whole gallery of all the penises of ancient Rome that were just chopped off all the statues.
That's great. They sent them over there to be collected. Well, probably a lot of the gay priests like to go. That's sort of their mecca. They want to go there and bow to all the penises that are there. So
I mean, that's it. I've never been in the Papal Palace. I've only had a glance. So it might be there. It might not. I don't know.
Well, I was going to say, because when you go to the Accademia, at least when I went, the first thing you see is David. And then there's a bunch of other cool stuff that would be cooler had you not just been ushered in to see David first.
Right.
And then you're like walking around. There's unfinished ones which look like men trying to get out of blocks of granite. Really cool. Which would have been great to build up to David. I would like that. Because you're walking out, you're like, I don't care about this stuff. I just saw David back there.
Well, that was the way we went in. You saw the blocks, and those blocks were his practice works.
Yeah.
As he was working on things and abandoning them, you saw that Michelangelo, he sculpted the wrong way.
How's that?
He sculpted incorrectly. The way that everyone else said to sculpt, was to sculpt around and work your way in. And Michelangelo started from the front and just worked his way all the way through.
Kind of like a 3D printer?
Yeah. So that's why you saw all those unfinished ones. So we saw them on the way to.
Oh, they took David. You in the right way. Maybe I went in the wrong way. Because it seems like you'd want to go in, but I just bought a ticket and went in, so I don't know.
We went in with a tour guide.
Maybe they took you in the back way.
The tour guide gave us all of the tour and the build up to it. Then we had to stand in line. We went in the special tour guide area. We followed him through with the whole lecture, and then we got to it.
Yeah.
And now it's funny, the front of the statue they present to you is not actually the front of the statue. They present you with his penis first. But that's not the front. The front is his face where he's looking, right? He's got.
Whenever I used to go on dates, it was always penis first.
Uh-huh.
That's how that was just my motto. Penis first and then the rest after. So then what happened?
But if you go to the side and you can look at his face, you can see all his concern for the fight. So, he's standing there, all tensed up and ready to fight.
Even though he knows he's going to win because the other guy doesn't have a chance because he's a really good slinger, and which was like having a rifle back then. And obviously, he was going to kill the guy before he ever got near him to use his weapon. So, I don't know why he was so concerned. But anyway,
because on the off chance that the sun caught him or the guy deflected it, he would have been toast.
Nah, he just run. The guy was too big to even chase him. He would just fling a thing, run a little bit, load up another one. So the guy had no chance. The guy brought a sword to a gunfight is what happened. So anyway, keep going. I like hearing about Italy.
Oh man, I could talk about it all night. I want to do a couple of actual show things though. Maybe I'll intersperse some more Italy in. But I want to make a big shout out to one of our new, I'm not sure what to call it. A new domain.net is now like saying, "Hey, here's a podcast." So
Good.
I guess they're supporting us on their website. So if you went to a new domain.net, you'll see our podcast in the podcast section.
We're
featured. And now,
thanks, you guys.
We've also been on the front page there, which is fantastic. A new domain.net is a site I've actually been following for a while because there's some writers there that I've been interested in. And you can look on that, a new domain.net, you can look under authors and you'll see Gina Smith, who's a longtime tech person. You can see, was it John C. Dvorak from the No Agenda Show? He's on there.
I like that guy. He's
great. If you look through the authors list, it's just a fantastic. Trey Radcliffe.
He's very well known. Everybody ribs him because he was very well known back in the day for saying, "Who the hell would want to buy a mouse? Who would want to use a mouse? For your computer? Stupid idea." That's funny, but I like that guy. He's great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's great. I love that. So every Thursday, and a little bit after we publish our show, they'll also publish the show.
Great.
So hopefully we'll get a bunch of listeners from a new domain.net. Thanks a lot, guys.
We should talk a little more tech then.
For joining us. Yeah.
We should talk more about robots this time around, by the way, too.
Well, we've been talking about Ashley Madison for a while. The last 2 times we've talked about it, I got most of my information from Gina Smith's article.
Oh, okay.
She's been doing investigative reporting on the Ashley Madison thing.
Did she have an account?
I don't think so. But she sure has.
She was the one actual female that had an account at Ashley Madison.
She's got the emails.
And it was just for undercover purposes?
She's got That's the emails from the data dump.
Oh.
So they're, I think I'm going to save it for next week to talk about the most interesting information that's come up lately.
Okay.
But I just wanted to mention, thanks a lot, Gina Smith, John C. Dvorak, Jerry Pornell, Danny's Wire. They're on a new domain.net, and I'm pleased that we're featured. So thanks a lot.
Great. Thanks.
And, for those of you that are watching us live, we're experimenting streaming live on YouTube. So if I sound distracted, I can wave at the camera. Hi, and so can you, Dave.
Can they see my dimples from there?
Let's see, smile. Yep.
Yeah, I noticed that right off when I started looking. So cute. Oh, my. Hey, I published a new book, by the way.
What? Really?
While we're plugging stuff. It's a kid's book. This is real. This is not a joke. You can actually buy this book. It's called The Monster of New.
Is this on Amazon?
You can get it on Amazon, yeah. I think I already sold some today. I actually looked on. I just published it the other day.
I'm going to go right now when I shop at Amazon, since I'm going to spend my money anyways.
Yeah.
I go to the indispensable.com/Amazon.
Yeah.
And that gives a little affiliate link. And now what am I searching for?
Look up The Monster of New by me and see what comes up. It's actually by me and my wife.
Of New.
Yeah. It's a book about if you have a little kid who doesn't want to try new stuff, this book might get them interested in trying new stuff. It's a short book. It's just for kids. It's got pictures. So take a look at it if you've got little kids who don't want to try new foods or are just afraid of doing stuff. It might help them out. There it is. Coming up. The Monster of New, Kindle edition by David Smith. It's actually by me and my wife, but the cover hasn't. Oh, by Susan. I published it, but by Susan and David Smith. And who did the illustrations? A lady named Roberta L. Smith. Roberta. This sounds like somebody I've met, actually. You met her. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a nice looking cover.
Yeah, it's cute. It's based on actual events too. But
Now,
check it out.
How do I order a paper version of this?
I don't know if I have to. I think it's just an ebook right now. I have to go back and do the print version. So I think it's just an ebook right now.
All right, so buy now with one click.
Yeah.
Oh, then I got to sign in with my Amazon. Okay, I'm not signed in yet. I'll have to buy it later.
That's how he gets me.
So we go to
You have to buy it later.
the indispensableshow.com/Amazon.
Yeah.
Search for The Monster of New by David
Monster
Smith.
of New, or Whiskey Tango, a whole other kind of spy novel.
Yep.
Look for that one too. Boy, we're doing a big plug section here. Sorry, everybody. We'll get back to show in a minute.
Hey, man, it's all about
Check out my
plugs.
novel. Just download a free sample. Check it out.
Oh,
if
there
you
you
don't
go.
think it's funny, don't buy it. I don't care. Screw you.
Don't worry, we will give you ways to give us your money.
Yeah. What else did you want to talk about? More Italy? I had one Italy story because I went with my buddy Matt, and well, I have lots of Italy stories. As a matter of fact, I think we annoy everybody because he has tons of friends, and whenever we get together, I'm the only person that came to visit him while he was living in Florence, going to a cooking school. And so, of course, we always talk about Italy every time. People just get just nauseating when we talk about how awesome Italy was. Like, shut up about Italy. But when we were in Florence and we wanted to get a bus to go to Siena, and I think I'm telling the story correctly. I have to clear it with Matt, but he'd been living there, so he was kind of doing all this stuff. So he goes and buys us a couple of tickets for the bus ride, which is like a 30-minute bus ride to Siena, and so buy the tickets, and we're just hanging around at the bus station for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes, and finally he goes to check. He's like, "Hey, when's the bus?" And the guy's like, "Oh, no buses today." He's like, "What?" He's, "Oh, it's a holiday." He's like, "Why'd you sell me a goddamn bus ticket for Siena today if the no buses?" Is like, "Oh, yeah." So that's Italy for you right there. The guy didn't bother to tell us that there's no bus. We wanted a ticket. Here's your ticket. He's probably thinking stupid Americans. They think there's a bus. Well, I'm going to show them. What an a-hole. So that was great. So we had to come back the next day to use our bus tickets for the ride to Siena, which I then lost my camera on the bus.
Oh, bummer.
But Siena is fantastic. You can go to Siena.
Next trip. See, so on this trip, we actually did some of the touristy things. Like I told you, we went to the Vatican.
Yeah.
Well, since we told a few people that we were going before we left, we had lots of really great tips. Now, one of these tips I would like to present to you, Dave. This is for you and Susan.
Oh, wow. Was it a bottle opener?
It's called a Popener. And you can
great.
only buy the
Can
Popener.
I get a shot of it if I hold
Oh,
it
yeah,
up to
let me-
here, let's get a...
Wait, I got to switch you over.
Switch me over.
This is a Popener. You can only buy Popeners just outside of the Vatican.
Uh-huh.
So a Popener is a beer bottle opener with the Pope's face.
Yeah. And it's got a picture of Jonathan Pryce there from what's that show that we like to watch with the dragons in it? Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah, Game of
Doesn't he
Thrones.
look like Jonathan? Doesn't he look like the
It's
guy
Papa
that,
Francesco.
Yeah, it is the Pope.
So every time you drink and get wasted and
awesome.
puke all over the yard, I want you to think about Papa Francesco.
I'm going to get into the sacramental wine with this thing. Thank you. That's awesome. I love it.
And you'll never lose it because it's a magnet on it for your fridge.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
They think of everything. Yeah, that's great. The Popener. Give me the Popener. What? As soon as I'm going to show her this and tell her it's the Popener, and then next week I'm saying, "Give me the Popener." And she's going to say, "What? What are you talking?" She never quite. She's slow on the comedy. She's on like a 4-second comedy delay a lot of times. The wife, but then I'll have to say the Pope opener, and then she'll get it.
She'll get it.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't test the Popeners. Hopefully, they're good enough quality to actually be able to open a bottle.
Feels pretty solid.
Well, don't break it in front of me. At least break it when you get home.
No, it feels solid.
Oh, man.
Is it, made in China.
I carried that all the way from Italy.
No, it's made in China, though. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't say made in China anywhere.
This is-
Vaticano.
It's a big deal in Italy. They'd say,
great.
no PRC. No PRC.
What does that mean?
No People's Republic of China.
Oh, okay.
Because
cool.
they sell the stuff at like half the cost. And you might not know the difference. So one of the things that I
PRC.
was excited about was going for the coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I've heard about Italian coffee for a long time. My friend Chris lived there for 4 years. He spoke at length about Italian coffee over many visits here. And I decided I'm going to do full Italian coffee experience. So we got into the airport. I went straight to get a coffee. Straight to Starbucks? Starbucks is outlawed in Rome.
Is it outlawed in Rome?
You can not find a Starbucks in Rome.
Wow.
Does not exist. But you can buy coffee everywhere else. So I think we went to about 26 or 27 coffee shops during the week I was there. I mean, I made a point to get 3 or 4 coffees a day because they're one little shots. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't that much money.
Espressos or coffees?
Espresso.
Okay, yeah.
A coffee is espresso. A cafe is a single shot of espresso in a little tiny cup. You stick your pinky out when you drink it. Mm-hmm. Now, the Italian way to drink coffee...
Now, if the Italians see you doing that, they're not going to want you to rent a uterus to adopt a child, just so you know.
That's true. So the Italian way is you find a bar. A bar means coffee shop, where people are standing around the stand-up bar, right? Because that's the right way. Yeah. You walk up to the bar, you get the guy's attention. Scusi, signore. You order your coffee. Un espresso lungo, per favore. And he looks at you and he says... Caffè americano? And you go, no, signore. Espresso lungo, per favore.
Per favore.
And then he looks at you like, do you want anything else? And so I say, e lei caffè americano? It's like, okay, so there's the Americano. The Americans are going to drink Americanos. That's a one shot of espresso with a little bit of water in a much bigger cup. And then, of course, the true Italian breakfast, you have to get a cornetto.
Yeah, I remember that in Florence, but I don't think I got one.
It's a croissant, just the pastry.
Okay.
They have different pastries. They're all called cornettos.
Okay. I don't think I ever ordered one of those.
So of all the coffee that I had, I have the first one that I had was pretty bad. It was like, ah. Mm-hmm. The second one was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is good. The third one I had was great. The fourth one I had was like, I couldn't finish it. So I did a little Google research. And I found, the best coffee in Rome is at this place called Sant Eustachio. Santeustachio. Mm-hmm. And for 100 years...
Is he the man who discovered the eustachian tube of the ear? Is that what he's famous for?
I don't know. Actually, I didn't look that up.
Probably not. Don't Google that.
I don't know. But it happened. The coffee shop is right next to the Chiesa or the Basilica or whatever it is for the saint. But this family's been making coffee there for 100 years.
Oh, nice.
They fly around the world. They get only the highest quality, 100% Arabica beans. Yeah. Then they make their blend, which, of course, every year is slightly different based on the crops and the rain and whatever. They do all the roasting in-house.
All that stuff's annihilated when I put my cream and Splenda in anyway. So.
Of course. But then you can walk in and buy coffee from them.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's one of the few places where you pay first and then pick it up at the counter because they can get really busy.
Yeah. Is there any equivalent here of a true Italian coffee? I remember going there and getting the coffees, and we, my buddy and I, he would go to school. I would sleep till noon. He would be done with school and come back, and I would still be sleeping in his bedroom. Mm-hmm. So he'd wake me up, and then we'd go to the McDonald's. I would get my quarter pounder on ciabatta bread or whatever it was. But then we'd go get the espresso and we'd smoke a cigarette at the stand-up bar. That was fantastic. That was awesome. Yeah. So, and they still use lard with their French fries at McDonald's there, which is really good. Wow. So they're extra good.
Well, McDonald's in Florence is gone.
Is it?
Yeah. There's one McDonald's and it's in the train station.
Oh, it's so sad.
Roma Termini, and that's it. They're gone.
Okay, whatever.
I did not see a single fast food. Fast food in Rome, the right way to eat like an Italian is not to go sit down at a restaurant for 2 hours for a nice midday lunch. It's to find a place that you walk up to and they've already made, 35 different sandwiches and they're all sitting in the window, all fresh baked bread, all fresh meat.
I'm so mad I didn't tell you to go to my favorite sandwich store in Florence.
Which is
all the students of the cooking school went to this sandwich place, and they took me there. I went there like 4 times in the 10 days I was there. It was so good, and it was in what they call Crack Alley of Florence. It's in a horrible neighborhood, but it's called Antico Noe, like Antico and then Noe, Antico Noe.
No, I don't think I went there.
But oh my god, great. It's just you just walk up and it's in a tunnel. It's scary, and you walk up and you're like, you have to look around, make sure take your wallet out and hold it tight, and then you get your order thing. I would get the sausage gorgonzola sandwich. Holy Christ, it was so good. Oh my God, it was great. So I'm so angry that I didn't tell you to go there.
Oh, I wish I had known, but that's the way to get lunch. So you know that. So you find a place where you walk up, you hand them your euros, you get this fantastic fresh made sandwich. So this was the thing when I did a little research for the coffee. So now by the time I went, I had already had 8 or 9 different Italian coffees, and this one was better. Yeah, it tasted better. It was totally smooth. It was like, wow, this is fantastic. So I asked the guy, hey, where can I buy this in the U.S.?
He said, I stirred it with my testicles.
Right? Of course.
And you were like, oh my God. I knew it. No. So what did he say?
So he told me there's one guy I can buy it from in the U.S., and there's a shop in Santa Monica that serves his coffee.
Ooh, road trip.
So it might be worth a drive out there one time.
We'll go up to the see an artsy fartsy movie up at the Monica up there if it's still there. I haven't gone there in 15 years, but okay. I'm sure this theater's still there. Probably on the promenade, maybe, or is it just somewhere else?
I'll get the name of the coffee shop.
Yeah, let's go.
It'd be a good plug. But Son Eustachio coffee. I brought a bag of beans for myself. It's almost gone. I brought a bag of beans as a thank you gift for my mother-in-law and her boyfriend who stayed and watched the kids for the whole time we were gone. Yeah. And I feel that bag of coffee was more than adequate compensation for 9 days of their work.
That good.
Yeah, it's that good.
Holy Christ.
So now the problem is, since I went full Italian for my coffee, like little tiny cups, several times a day, I haven't been able to switch back.
Oh.
I'm making my little coffees here in the morning instead of carrying a big thermos. I go to the Starbucks on campus. I just order 2 shots in a little cup.
That's cool.
I'm like, this is crazy.
Weird. All right.
I can't go back. It's amazing. I'm so happy.
Okay, when in Rome.
As my pick-me-up, I got my little Bialetti espresso maker, and I tried it that way.
Oh, you have an espresso maker?
Well, I have the Bialetti, and I have an AeroPress.
I just have the Keurig View, so I can't. I think it does make espressos. I have to look into this.
Yeah,
I'm going to Google that.
Keurig makes some interesting stuff, but
this one's fancy. It's pretty fancy. I don't know. I think it does, or maybe not. Probably not. I'm talking out of my ass.
Well, I want to do a quick sponsor break because we do got to keep the lights on in the Depends for Men studio. Yeah. And I'd like to thank our sponsor Backblaze for supporting us this week. If you have data on your computer, you should back it up with Backblaze. Go to theindispensable.show.com/Backblaze and get hassle-free, unlimited online backup. And we'll get a couple bucks too if you sign up.
I had a little Backblaze a few months ago because I made my own Thai chili paste from the plants that I have in my backyard. I didn't really dilute it enough, and I ate a lot of them on some eggs. And the next morning, major Backblaze.
The next morning, you went to theindispensable.show.com/Backblaze, and you signed up for unlimited hassle-free backups.
Yeah, that's what I did. I didn't have a painful bathroom experience. I went to their website.
So 2 episodes ago. So let me just tell the listeners, if you
let's get the show started. It's 33 minutes in.
If you've made it this far, you may be wondering, but Sable and Dave, you guys did a show last Thursday. How could you have been in Rome?
Yeah, we did the show from Rome. We didn't want to say anything. We didn't want to seem like we're highfalutin jet setters. Right. So did it come off so nobody knew? No one emailed in, said, you guys are doing this from Rome, aren't you?
I didn't get any complaints. Okay. No one was, maybe nobody was tricked, but nobody was complaining. Okay. So 2 weeks ago, which was the most recent episode that we recorded, and 2 episodes ago for the listeners, we had a special guest, Jesse Dollamore from IDoubtItWithDollamore.com. Yes. And how do you feel? Now you've had time to settle on your conversation. How'd you feel about that?
It was a good show. I always love talking to Jesse. Mm-hmm. He always makes good points. I like hearing. I like listening to his show. I like hearing his opinion on things. I think that's good. I think he should have a show on like terrestrial radio. I think they need to dump Jillian Barbary off of the radio here in KBC and throw him and Brittany in there instead of whoever they've got in the whenever. I don't care. They'd be better than those.
I think podcasting is bigger than terrestrial radio.
The money's better right now on terrestrial radio, I think, but it would get him more exposure. He needs to get on there.
That's probably true. There's still money in there because of traditional advertising, but I can't imagine that's going to stick around for long.
Not long, but it'd be good to get in there before it dies.
Because you get a big show, like the No Agenda show, a podcast I listen to. They get 100,000 listeners.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot get 100,000 listeners on terrestrial radio unless you are syndicated nationwide, like Leo Laporte is on The Tech Guy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Jesse and Brittany could do that.
That's true. Like John and Ken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
KFI.
I was listening to John and Ken today. There was something I wanted to talk about. But Jesse, since we're talking about Jesse, do you want to talk about Israeli settlements right now, real quick, before we?
I wanted to make one comment about that before we talk about settlements, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So I thought. So first of all, I apologize for the terrible camera angle. We're just going to keep going with our under the table webcam until we get something better.
They can't see my sack, can they? Oh God. I don't know.
Quick sack check. Yeah, send us a tweet at Sable and Dave if you can see Dave's sack on the show. But
or if you want to see more of my sack, you can tweet me at my other Twitter account, which is I'm not going to give that out right now.
Yikes. So I really liked that while we were doing the live stream and recording, Jesse was getting live feedback from Brittany on statistics.
Yeah, that was great.
So I really appreciate you guys for having that sort of like live interplay. Mm-hmm. And it was really cool. I would like to continue live streaming even if it looks terrible because the sound was good at least.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's all I had on that.
We got that going for us.
We actually had, there was a ton. We can't cover all the topics in modern world. And this week, I don't think we should talk about gun control because the Oregon shooting happened while I was gone. Yeah. And I was like, oh, what's that headline? Holy crap. Let me tell you, that shooting, we'll save it for next week.
At least you were shocked by it. I'm starting to get where I'm like, what's this week's weekly shooting? Let me see. Oh, it's Oregon this week. Okay.
That's going to change a lot of things in education.
Okay, right.
So we'll save that for next week. Mm-hmm. I bet every college makes a change after this, finally.
Yeah, well, they need to make the I'll just say right away, I hope that they make the gun-free zone signs bigger to make sure that everybody can see them. That's what they need to do.
Oh, right.
That would solve it.
That would definitely stop it.
Yeah.
All right. Now, a few other really interesting things happened, but I want to hear about settlements.
Yeah, it was something that Jesse had mentioned. He said, we had plenty to talk about, so I didn't want to stop him and say, you used the word settlements. Because we were talking about Israeli, that we were talking about Israel, and of course, that kerfuffle that's been going on over there for 50, 60, 70 years about Israel and Palestinians and all these things. But he did use the word settlements, which is always, whenever I hear someone say settlements, a little thing goes off in the back of my ding, 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 ding. They said settlements. Because to me, if you say, instead of just saying apartment buildings or neighborhoods, if you say settlements, that lets me know that you're a little annoyed with Israel. Okay? Because when I think of the word settlements, I think of, like Ma and Pa and Half Pint and Mary. They're going out onto the, maybe venturing out into hostile Choctaw territory, and they're just building their dugout with the grass roof, and they're starting to get the oxen and plow. They don't care whose land it is; they're just plowing the field. They're near the creek, and who cares if it's Indian land? That's a settlement,
right? But
the settlements we're talking about in Israel are apartment buildings with jacuzzis and underground parking lots and streets that lead to them and stuff.
Well, and bomb shelters.
Bomb shelters, yes.
Because every Israeli family has to have a bomb shelter.
Right.
Because the crazy Arabs that live next door will fire rockets indiscriminately at the women and children.
Yes. I said when we were talking about that, of course, there's lots of minutiae and lots of things to consider with this conflict. But the way I choose sides is who targets innocent people and who does not target innocent people. Arabs target innocents. I shit on their cause. Sorry, I said a bad word. So, but here's the deal why those quote unquote settlements are there. And I have a good analogy here that I think I'm going to run past you to see if you agree with this. I might have laid this on you before, but what happened was the moment Israel was created, given this land by, was it Britain had owned it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And did the UN like sign off on this, or was it the UN? I don't care about, but it was the British and whoever, whatever.
The Zionists.
Whatever.
The Zionists came up with enough money to make a deal.
Okay, whatever. Britain, yeah. They gave this land to the Israelis.
Mm-hmm.
This is your stretch of land right in the middle of everybody who hates you. By the way, we should have just put it in Arizona. That would be much easier. Called Arizion.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody would be happy there, except of course as soon as they
except for the drug cartels.
Maybe, yeah.
They would have been upset.
And
there might have been even more violence than there is in the Middle East now.
Probably not. No, not the same kind of violence.
There's more beheadings in the south of Arizona and Mexico than there is in Saudi Arabia.
Well, but they're just policing their own drug dealer people over there. They wouldn't be. But exactly. As soon as we put Arizion there, 3 weeks later, a Palestinian would blow himself up in the Arizion Jamba Juice. Mm-hmm. So whatever. But anyway, here's what happened. Israel was created, 1948? Immediately, all of the Arab nations declared war on them to try to kill everybody.
Yeah.
And during that process of attacking Israel handed them their ass and beat them back and ended up on some extra land. And they stayed there. It's like an occupied territory now because they were attacked. And
right.
When I say attacked, people are trying to kill you.
You might be referring to 1967, the 7-Day War.
That's exactly what I'm referring to.
Where all the allied Arabs, like everyone surrounding them, simultaneously attacked on the holiest day of the year, trying to catch Israel off guard.
Yeah.
And Israel's response was so powerful, they captured all the way up to Lebanon, all the way to Egypt through the desert.
Mm-hmm. So they made all of the Arab nations eat like an entire shit sandwich, and they force-fed it to them, which I love. That's so fantastic.
Right? And then the UN stepped in and said, no, you can't have all this land. You have to give their land back. So
here's where my analogy comes in. You're a woman in the park jogging. Mm-hmm. Somebody tries to rape you. You beat them up, and they run away, but they left their cell phone. Now, do you have to run? Sir, you dropped your cell phone. Or is that your effing cell phone now?
Yeah, I think it's your cell phone.
Yeah, it's your effing cell phone. So, F you, people who want the settlements taken out of Gaza, you lost the land. Screw you. Thank you. Dave has spoken.
Dave has spoken. Nice. Yeah. So, California is sort of spiraling out of control. And I'm not sure if Hollywood liberals...
Did you see my tweet today? You retweeted me on that.
I happen to have seen your tweet after putting this link into the notes. Oh. I'm not sure that they're going to be happy with the result of their support. Can you tell us, Dave, about the California Fair Pay Act?
I haven't read it in detail, but they have...
I have a summary from the Times if you want the summary.
Yeah, please do. Please read that.
So the summary is that the California Fair Pay Act builds on existing protections by prohibiting an employer from paying any of its employees at wage rates less than the rates paid to employees of the opposite sex for substantially similar work, not just for equal work or the exact same job title.
Substantially similar.
So what it means is if you've been working in the office for 25 years, right, but you decide not to be management.
But by the way, let's say you're a woman who's doing this.
No, this is you.
No. Say it's a woman.
Wait,
because this can happen.
Let me explain. So for you, Dave Smith,
okay,
you've been working in the company for 25 years, and you happen to sit in a cubicle to do your work, and you're really good at it. Mm-hmm. And they hire a brand new, just out of college intern who also sits at a cubicle and works at a computer, right? Mm-hmm. This is substantially similar.
Yes, it is.
She must, by law, be paid the same as you.
Yeah.
With no experience, without the same experience.
Does this work for if this is a woman doing this job for 25 years and I suddenly come in from college?
Of course not.
What?
But the woman could then sue the company for not paying her for doing the substantially similar. Like, well, I sit at a cubicle and work at a computer too. We're at the same company.
Yeah.
So
why not?
This Fair Pay Act is just going to be lots and lots of lawsuits. This is lawyer bonanza.
Yep. It is going to throw a wrench into the already grinding to a halt labor situation that we have in California, where people are just leaving, taking their business away. And how is it going to work in Hollywood if you've got a low budget movie and you're like, oh my God, we got Jennifer Lawrence to be in our movie, but we need to pay her $2 million. Now, her co-star was getting scale, which has to be thrown out the window now because he's acting in a scene with Jennifer Lawrence, who's getting $1 million, $22 million maybe. We now have to pay him $22 million. Or maybe she'll accept $500,000. I doubt it. But how are they gonna? They can't do it. They're gonna have to. This is Jerry Brown's gonna be so confused when he starts seeing more and more production companies going to Toronto. That's what's gonna happen. Is they're gonna F you. We're out of here. See, I hope they do. I hope every single studio moves to Arizona, where all the Jews are.
I think Governor Brown was confused this week. Because
he is retarded.
Just before he decided to hose Hollywood and kill a large portion of business in Southern California, he decided to allow doctors to kill Californians.
Assist with their suicide,
right? So on Monday, he signed a measure allowing physicians to prescribe lethal doses of drugs to terminally ill patients who want to hasten their deaths.
All right.
So you're a writer.
Yeah.
If you were to break your hand and you'd never be able to write again, you could go to the doctor and say,
"Can I still masturbate?"
No, you broke your hand. What are you?
How badly is it broken? It's got to be pretty broken for me not to be able to masturbate.
Well, maybe you could use a glove or something. I don't know.
Or I could get a robotic hand. One of those new robotic hands.
Well, if you couldn't get that, you could go to the doctor and ask for some pills. Now, this isn't going to take effect next week. It's going to take a couple months.
I like this because I think mostly Democrats are going to take advantage of this. They're going to try to get their granny to do this, and they're mostly Democrats. It should purge out a lot of the Democrats because I think a lot of the right wingers are going to be like, no, I'm going to tough it out, whatever. There is a weird thing though with this euthanasia thing in the Scandinavian countries. I have heard there's a little bit of like the old people who they kind of feel pressured to take the easy way out, even though they don't want to, which seems kind of sad to me.
Well,
in principle, I say yes. If I'm horribly suffering from brain cancer, I'm in pain or something, I want to take the easy way out. But there's a gray area here. Don't pretend there's not a slippery slope gray area. I just spit on my microphone.
You may not want to use up all of your life savings keeping yourself alive.
Yeah, that too.
You may want to give that to your kids.
Yeah, maybe.
Your kids may want you to give them the money.
That's right.
Right? So,
well, they're gonna want you to give them their money.
Just be done already. Don't use up all your money. Now,
Jerry Brown also did another stupid thing. I want you to
remind
me. Say Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor, and then keep going.
Remind
me that.
You mean the one where the shooting happened?
No. It's a different thing.
So there's one I noticed. So I just came back a couple days ago, but I noticed there was one more thing helping push the assisted suicide rate.
Yeah,
and that was our local amusement park, Disneyland, is continuing to rape the unsuspecting public. One Disneyland representative stated,
I don't think they're unsuspecting. I think they know damn well.
They won't stop coming. No matter how much money we charge them, people keep showing up. It's insane.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, if you want to buy an annual pass to get into the magical kinkdom, I'm trying not to say, right? I don't want to implicate any particular amusement park that has fireworks every night at 9:30. But it's $1,000 to get in now for the year.
Wow, $1,000.
$1,000
for a child. Or they're only like $900. They give you a discount if you're a kid. It's like $979 or something.
You might get $30 off.
Yeah.
So you have a family of 4, or 5. It would be $5,000. Plus you got to buy parking, and you might want to buy a food thing. There might be you're going to spend over $5,000 to go to Disneyland a few times.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Don't go.
And people are paying for it, man. They're paying it.
I think we're going to go take my youngest daughter there this year. But we're not going to buy the passes. We're just going to try to do the one day. And I have an ex-girlfriend that works there, but I don't want to call her. Because I know she'll sign us in if I do. I don't want to.
I think you should call her and offer to give her a back massage and buy her a bottle of wine. Tell her that you'll go and meet her husband in a dark alley because if you try to take your family there for a day, it's going to cost you $600.
There needs to be some sort of exchange, like a website where people can go and anonymously say, "I'm going to sign you in, and for this amount of money, you could purchase it and go." It'd be all anonymous, though, like Ashley Madison. Maybe call it like Mad Hatterson. I don't know, something with the Disney characters in it. We could do something. We'll come up with something.
Alice and the Mad Hatterson,
something like that. Yeah, but it's like all on the slide. It's like Uber. You smartphone to smartphone. It's like, hey, I'm here, and they go, boom, 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 and they go and they sign you in, and then the payment is automatically put into their account.
So
this is what we need.
I was talking with somebody who said, "Oh yeah, Disneyland's no problem for us. I know this girl, and she gets me and the family in. I give her $200, let her know what time I'm going to be there, and she just signs us in."
What's her name? I need to know her name.
And I was like, $200? He said, "Yeah, man, it's like 50% off."
Yeah, hell yeah. I want to just get a part-time job over there, working on the monorail or something. Of course, that's completely automated. I don't know what job I would have on the monorail. Just telling people, "Hello, folks. To your right is the Matterhorn."
I actually would like to work if I ever switch from a 12-month-a-year job to a job where I have the whole summers off. I wouldn't mind playing in the band over there during the summers.
Ooh, you could be in one of those ragtime bands. Get a banjo or something, or the ukulele.
Well, I play trombone. I'd go wander around Disneyland playing trombone.
Yeah, you
like
could
I did
play
in high
over
school.
at the Carnation Instant. What was it? Carnation.
I could wear a crazy hat.
The restaurant over there. Yeah, the straw hat. Oh, that sounds awesome. Please do that so you can sign me in to the park.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
So anyway, Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor. That reminded me before we go.
That's where
we're running a little long today. It's okay, whatever. We're under an hour.
We're going to keep it under an hour. Farrell's is where you go in to order an ice cream, and then you play the bass drum, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, it's a fun, old-timey ice cream parlor. They were very big in the 70s when I was a kid, and then they went away for a long time, but now they're kind of coming back. And there's one near Knott's Berry Farm in Buena Park, and recently a car drove up and killed a couple of people. Just drove into the restaurant. I think it killed a couple of people that were either in the restaurant or standing right there in front of the restaurant. The owner of the Farrells there, in conjunction with a lot of other people, because this is a problem, actually people getting killed in front of establishments, like old people and drunk people, whoever, or old and drunk people driving up onto the sidewalk and killing people in front of these businesses. Like maybe they're coming in and they hit the wrong pedal and they go into the thing. So there's 600 people a year are killed this way, by the way.
Wow.
So anyway, they had a unanimous law passed, that was sent to Jerry Brown. Sent to Jerry Brown to I think they wanted it mandated that the businesses like that have those metal poles put out in front of their businesses or whatever. He vetoed it now because he didn't want to tell businesses what to do with the building stuff.
Okay.
But this very same freaking day almost, he enacted sweeping legislation about environmental stuff, telling all the builders what they need to do for their buildings to be environmentally safe. No problem telling them what to do in that department. But when you can actually quantify and say, 600 actual people, here are their names. These are the real live, previously breathing individuals that were killed that very well could have been saved by these pylons that we can put in front of these, that we could build into the codes of these buildings. But not good enough. But
not good enough.
When you're talking about sort of nebulous, theoretical numbers of people who could die from this global warming thing, which we're not even sure if we could stop, and we're not totally sure it's happening. We think it is. There's a consensus.
Something's happening, but we just don't know if it's us or not.
There's a consensus that global warming is real, but they don't need to say there's a consensus that 600 people died.
Right?
No, that's a fact. Because we counted them. This is how they died. We don't need to say there was a consensus that 600 people died. No, don't need that. Why do they need to say there's a consensus?
And the legislators agreed this would be something good for the people.
Unanimously,
which is
send it to him.
Unusual.
He vetoed it.
Yeah.
Giving the retarded reason that he didn't want to tell the building people. He just want to leave that up to the builders, but not when it comes to the crazy global warming people. So, F you, Jerry Brown. Dave has spoken.
Dave has spoken. So while you're saving up for your Disneyland trip, you're doing Uber driving, right?
Yeah, I'm saving up for an air conditioning unit for my house. I'm Uber
Oh,
driving.
okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing Uber driving.
I'm going to put the camera back on you. Can you tell me any Uber adventures you've had while I was gone the
Did
last
I
2
talk
weeks?
about the sign spinner guy?
Yes.
I did mention him.
You
Okay.
mentioned him.
So he was one. Recently, I had, let's see. There was a crazy chick that I picked up. She was cute white chick, but she didn't have a destination to go to, and she wasn't the person who, like a friend of hers, I think, called for her, probably to get her out of her house. Mm-hmm. This was in Rossmore. I went over there, which is a nice neighborhood. So this girl comes out, and she's got a laptop with her, and she goes, I probably smell like an ashtray. My friend's a chain smoker. And sure enough, yeah, she smelled like, but she didn't smoke in my car. I think it still smells like smoke, though, just because of her in there last weekend. And so I have to drive her to, she's talking on the phone, and every other word is the F word. Uh-huh. And she's talking to people who are like, I don't know who they sound like a bunch of ne'er-do-wells she's talking to. And she's kind of like whispering sometimes, like, what's going on? And so I take her to this house, and she goes up to the thing. No one's there. So she comes, can you take me to 7-Eleven? So I take her to 7-Eleven, and this is awesome. And then I got to take her to Long Beach to meet some guy who's riding on a skateboard. She's like, he's at this intersection. He's riding on a skateboard. So I'm like, all right. So I take her over to Long Beach, and there's this sort of ne'er-do-well guy looking. He's got tattoos all over his stomach, and this wasn't supposed to be the final destination. She was just going to have him sign some papers,
okay,
quote unquote. And so, and
I'm not sure why you were doing big air quotes.
Can you see me doing the air quotes? So she was going to have him sign some papers. She didn't have any papers with her.
Okay,
so I don't know what that meant. As far as I know, she didn't have any papers with her. I didn't pat her down or anything. So anyway, she gets out, and then he comes back and gets the laptop. She's gonna stay here. Okay, awesome, good. That was really weird. And she said her dad was a race car driver guy, and
nice.
And she used to hang out with Don the Snake Prudhomme. So we were talking racing for a while. He's a dragster, like funny car guy. So she knew who he was. She totally knows that guy. It was very weird. Her dad was. I'm not gonna say her dad's name. But I've heard of him too.
Did you get paid? You actually got paid?
Yeah. Okay. So far, yeah. The Uber went through, so that was weird. And then the other day, I took a girl to work at Taco Bell. That was fine. She was a very cute girl, very young girl named Brianna. Dropped her off at Taco Bell, and then I got one more.
Now that's a girl who doesn't need that job. If you can take an Uber to get to Taco Bell,
that's like, did she do the math?
You're working there because you have to tell somebody, yeah, I do have a job. I'm working hard. I'm saving money, Daddy.
Yeah, so she Ubers to Taco Bell. Right, yeah, exactly. That was what I was thinking, too. I was like, she's not doing the math. I'm not too good at the math. But they got her on the register. Luckily, it adds up all the numbers for her. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm going to do one more before I go home. Mm-hmm. Because I hadn't done any that week. I want to get a little something in the kitty for the air conditioner. So I pick a guy up in Huntington Beach, and he gets in. He wants to go to Hollywood. He wants to go to the W Hotel. Now, that's like a 40-mile drive. Like, oh, crap. I'm going to tell the wife, hey, I got to go to Hollywood right now. So we start driving, and he's got an accent, and I'm kind of thinking, he's got a kind of familiar accent. And he says he's a jiu-jitsu trainer. I go, you're Brazilian, aren't you? He's like, yeah. So we talked the entire way up about he's a jiu-jitsu, like Brazilian jiu-jitsu, like Gracie's. He knows these guys. Mm-hmm. He's fought in the ring and stuff. He's a trainer. He's going up, but he's going to the W Hotel to do some bodyguarding for a rapper. I'm like, this is an awesome Uber ride. So we talked the whole way, and I said, yeah, I got a buddy who fought in some of the Ultimates or some of the things. His name's Todd Medina, and he's like, oh yeah, my friend, my buddy fought Todd Medina. I go, what's your buddy's name? He says Vanderlei Silva. He's a very famous Ultimate Fighter guy, a scary guy. And I go, oh yeah, he crushed Todd's cheekbone and he retired. Thank you. You thank your friend for me. So, but he's that was good. That was a fun one actually. Dropped him off at the W. He was a fun guy to have. So,
and what kind of money do you make on a 45-minute drive or hour drive like that?
Yeah, the Uber
$6?
on that one. No, I got like it's like $57 to take them up to LA. But then they take their cut. They take about a quarter of it or sometimes. So I end up with like $40, which would be fine if I go other places. But I just came home. So, but my car does okay on the mileage, so it still worked out good for me. And I'm getting good stories. I like talking to these people.
This is great.
That was great. Yeah.
So this week I'm gonna work on a jingle for you. So when we do it next time, I'm just gonna cue in the the ba-doo-dum dum dum Dave's Uber Adventures. Woo!
Very good.
It'll be great.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully I'll have some more.
Well, Dave, you think we should wrap this up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up right before the hour mark.
All right. I want to thank everybody for using Backblaze at theindispensable.show.com/backblaze and for spending your money at Amazon using our affiliate link at theindispensable.show.com/Amazon. I would also like to thank anewdomain.net, Gina Smith, Ted Rawl, John Dvorak. Thanks for having us on the site. I really love that.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, listeners, for subscribing to the show. You can find the Indispensable Thursday show on iTunes and everywhere that fine podcasts are served. Oh, speaking of fine podcasts, everyone is still downloading our episode 36, Whip and Nene. I think we're up to 1,800 downloads on that one.
Yeah, that's awesome. And they're all angry because they think they're downloading the song Watch Me Whip, Watch Me Nene.
Yeah, right?
So
we want to hear your voice. If you would like to chime in on this podcast, please call us at 657-206-0777. What's the number, Dave?
I don't know.
657-206-0777.
Call Jesse Dollamore. He knows the number.
And leave us a message. We appreciate your iTunes store reviews. Oh, you should have the number on the Google Doc, Dave. Oh. We invite you to follow us at facebook.com/The Indispensable Thursday Show or on Twitter at Sable and Dave. Bye, Dave.